One of the hardest things about working in OnlyFans management is building a team of intelligent, hardworking instruction followers, whether they are general VAs, whether they are chatters, whether they are models. It is not an easy thing to do, but you can take solace in the fact knowing that it is not an easy thing to do for any business. However, in this video, I'm going to give you 6 tips for how to avoid, this is the title, how to avoid hiring retarded Filipino VAs. Now, before I get into this, I want to give a little bit of credit to the Filipino people and say that there are some very good ones out there. There are some good ones. I have some good ones. And, you know, they are the exceptions, I believe. Most of them are awful. But then again, most people looking for jobs are awful. Most people out there that send their resume, that go to apply to a job somewhere, are going to be, statistically, not good people that you would ever want to work for you in any capacity. They're checked out mentally. They're not interested. They're not into it. They're not drinking the Kool-Aid. They don't have long-term, they don't have like the aspiration to work with you for a long term, to rise in the ranks and all that shit. And again, before I get into this, I will not only give that credit to the Filipino people, but I will also say that before you write somebody off as a retard, you need to take a look in the mirror and you need to ask yourself genuinely, is my training good? Is my training clear? Is it, does it go step by step and explain exactly what to do at every step? And if the answer is no, then you're the retard, not the person you're hiring. I mean, they might be retarded too, but like you're definitely also the retard. So how to avoid hiring retarded Filipino VAs? Number 1, filter early. You want to start the filtering process as soon as possible. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean by filtering? So how does it normally work, right? You post a job ad, or you maybe, God forbid, you fucking, for some reason, decide to hire on Telegram. But you're going to put it out there somewhere that like you are looking for people to hire. And you are going to get applicants. People are going to reach out to you. And once you do this a lot, you will begin to understand that it becomes very clear the quality of the applicant immediately. Okay, it's not, I mean, not always, but like commonly, you will be able to tell if somebody is going to be good by their first message to you. For example, if their first message is, hello, sir, I saw your job ad about whatever, and I'm very interested because I have always wanted to get into that thing and I'm super motivated. I'm available full time. I'm ready to go. Like, please let me know what the next steps are. Oh, and here's my resume and here's this and here's that and here's some work experience, blah, blah, blah. And it's all formatted nicely, good punctuation, good grammar. It's been spell checked. Like they went over it carefully multiple times before sending it to you because they value your first impression of them. Now compare that applicant, okay? Compare that one to somebody who sends you a message and it's like, hi, me want job. Or like, hi, is job okay? And it's like, that's your first impression? Like, are you, and again, are they dumb? Have they just not been educated? Did like their dad not sit down with them when they were a kid and be like, okay, son or daughter, when you apply for a job, you need to put your best self forward. Maybe their dad's a fucking retard too. You never know. Like, who knows? But that's when I'm saying filter early, that's what I mean. You want to start filtering from their first message, and you want to constantly filter, constantly. Every step in the app, and I'm not even talking about work. Like I'm talking about before you even hire them. You want to constantly filter them at every single step in the process. So they send you the message, you filter at that stage. Then you ask them for something to do something or send you something, and then you filter at that stage. And then let's say they pass that and maybe you, whatever, ask them for something else or they have to do something, you filter again. What we do, I have them read some stuff first, and they need to send me confirmation that they understand certain things. Now, that's another point of filtering for me, because if I and the reason is that I see there's a wide variety of responses that I will get. So for example, so what I asked them to confirm 4 statements for me. Now, some people will just be like, yeah, okay, I confirm. Other people will be like, 1, 2, 3, 4, confirm, 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 confirm. Other people will be like, 1, I confirm that, blah, 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 right? Number 2, I confirm that, and then they'll write all of them out, you know? Other people will write, I confirm this, you know, they'll do that. And then they'll write like a paragraph at the bottom. I'm super excited. I really want to do this. I love this idea of this thing that I want to do. So you begin to understand the quality of the person based on before they've even done the job, before they've even started work. Because I promise you, the way that somebody applies to the job is going to be the way that they do the job. How you do one thing is how you do all things. And if you send some fucking 3-word grammatically incorrect message because you're lazy or stupid, then that's how you're going to do the job. Just that's all there is to it. And you need to filter for that early on. Number 2, you want to look for effort, right? Effort is, I was going to say the most important thing. It's one of the most important things when you want to hire somebody. I would say effort and the ability to follow instructions and like do what I tell them to do the first time I tell them to do it. It's really effort, desire for the job, and the ability to follow instructions. If I have somebody that has those 3 things, even if they're not super intelligent, if they will do what I tell them to do, and if they put a lot of effort into it, and if they really, really want the job, we're good. We're good. You don't need to be a fucking genius. You don't need any experience, 0 experience. Like, I will take you off the fucking street. I do not care. It doesn't matter to me, because all I need, I've already figured it out. I don't need your experience. Your experience is irrelevant to me. Your experience is probably bad if you had experience. I know for a fact your experience is not as good as mine. You're not smarter than me, probably. You don't know how to do the job better than I know how to do the job. So who gives a fuck if you have experience or not? Like, can you do what I tell you to do? Okay, we're good. Anyway, you want to look for effort, okay? Effort is very important, because if they don't put effort into the job, if they don't put effort into anything, then they're not going to put effort into the job. And the way that it works when you hire a new employee is that they're going to start out, they're going to be super motivated, they're going to do everything that they said they're supposed to do, and then it's, you know, their performance is going to drop a little bit. And that's where your role as a manager comes in, is to constantly remind them that they must perform at a high level. It's another thing. That's a separate video though. However, you do need a very high level baseline of like, this is the amount of effort that I put into stuff. Number 3, talk to them to make sure they aren't using ChatGPT for everything. So ChatGPT is a thing, and Filipino VAs, they fucking know all about it. Let me tell you, they fucking use it, and sometimes they use it well. Sometimes they don't use it well. And once you go through enough applications, you know when they're using it. And the issue, I mean, look, if the role that you are hiring them for calls for using ChatGPT, great. Then they have experience for sure. They can fucking click, type in a prompt and click a button, copy paste, you're good. But if it's something like chatting, which ChatGPT is not quite good at, I mean, there are some ways you can modify the prompt to like get it to sound more like a girl and not like a cringy fucking AI. But it's not there yet. And like, I'll give you an example, right? Why I don't like when I am aware that they're using ChatGPT. So part of the training that I have them do is role play. Okay. I give them all this training material. They come in and it's one-on-one role play with me. So this is my opportunity to filter to see, did they actually go through the material? Are they going to show up and like do what I expect them to do? Or are they, did they just like cheat on the test to pass to get the job? And a lot of them do. And most of them do, honestly. And I can tell right away the ones who are using ChatGPT because all their fucking responses sound the same. They're all terrible. They're all like super cringe and awful. And I have to tell them right away, this is not a ChatGPT job. And honestly, I have never hired a single person who was using ChatGPT as a chatter. This is chatter stuff we're talking about. Never hired a single person. Not a single time. Now, who knows why? Maybe they didn't want the job because they realized they can't fucking copy paste their way to success. I don't know, whatever, who cares? Doesn't matter. But you need, if the job that you need them for requires some level of like creative thinking, and sadly most of the jobs do. And I know it would be way easier if we did not need them to think creatively. That would be, and your role as a manager should be to remove the friction of needing to think creatively so they can do their job more efficiently. But I mean, there's only so much you can do. Even if you remove 80% of the creative thinking or 50%, whatever, they're still going to have to do some creative thinking. And if they can't do it, if they're too stupid or lazy, then, you can't hire them. You know what I mean? It'll cause you trouble down the line. Number 4. This is a really good one. Have your other VAs vet them. This is really good. So, and again, this is mainly for my chatters. I have an assistant, a general VA assistant, and I have 2 other general VAs they're doing like some little project for me. So I'm not really having him like vet anybody yet. I probably could at this point. I'd be like, talk to this guy, make sure he's not a fucking retard. But I'm just not doing that yet because their roles are not like, it's experimental too. So I'm more involved. Anyway, with chatters, I can hire a new chatter and I can put him with the guy who's the manager, and I can say like, vet this guy, make sure he's not a fucking retard. And I will ping him 24 hours in. I'll be like, how'd he do? Was he good? Is he going to be good? And he will tell me honestly, or pretty honestly, right? He'll be like, oh, for example, he was really good. He asked a lot of questions. He was super motivated. Like he really wants the job, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. Let's move him forward. Other times he'll be like, oh yeah, this person like showed up for fucking 30 minutes and they don't have a computer. And then they left like 30 minutes later and they said they'd come back and they never did. And they're not answering my messages now. So those people, to get rid of them very quickly. You can also get second opinions on, when you vet people, right? You can, because what you'll realize when you start to grow your team is that everybody has different personalities, especially with an emotional job like chatter, right? Because chatting is sales and salespeople are emotional people. They all have very distinct personalities and quirks and idiosyncrasies. Some people will get along better than others. And it's good to get, like, once you identify what somebody's personality is like, you can kind of partner them with a new person to see what their personality type thinks of the new person. Anyway, weird stuff. Don't worry about it if you don't have a team yet. But if you have one good VA that you trust who's not retarded, then you can have him, preferably him, not her, vet the other VA. Number 5, check their work early. So, I can't speak for everybody, although I do believe that, I can't speak for everybody, but I have definitely made the mistake in the past of hiring somebody, saying like, okay, here's your job. Here, watch this video. This explains everything. Here are your accounts and go send me a report at the end of the day. And not checking their work until I've paid them like 3 times. Only to find out they weren't doing their job. They were doing it improperly. And that is not good. Okay. When you hire a new person, they must feel that they are being monitored. And not only that, all employees must feel that they are being monitored at all times and that they cannot get away with anything. They can't get away with not giving 100% effort. They can't get away with stealing. They can't get away with fucking breaking the rules. They cannot get away with anything. Not only, and this is where checking your work comes into play. So let's talk about that really quick. You need to check their work because, again, like I said, they need to understand that they are being monitored, number 1. And number 2, you want them to do things properly. And even if it's a simple job, chances are they're not going to do it exactly the way that you want to do it the first day or first 2 days or first week. There is going to be a little bit of, a period where you have to give them some, coaching, like adjustments. And that's something that I think frustrates a lot of agency owners because we expect incorrectly to just hire somebody and tell them what to do and have them understand it perfectly and do it perfectly the first time, and we're like, oh, well, they didn't do it. Oh, they must be retarded. No, motherfucker. Like, they made a mistake. It happens. It's a thing. However, if the person is a good person and they put in effort and they're communicative and they're responsive, my recommendation to you would be to not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Give them a chance. Allow them to correct their mistake. That's a really big one. Maybe I'll add that one in there. Let's actually talk about that. Yeah, give them a chance to correct their mistake. Okay. So one of the things that will drive you up the fucking wall is hiring somebody, giving them a task, monitoring their work, seeing them do it wrong, giving them feedback, extremely clear feedback, and then checking their work again and seeing that they're still doing it wrong. I'm getting like my blood pressure's going up just thinking about it. Those people you need to get rid of. I'm sorry. They're beyond hope. They are beyond fucking hope. Now, again, if it's a chatter, you kind of got to give the chatters a little bit of leeway. It's a very dynamic job. There's a lot going on. They're managing fucking 10 conversations at once. There's a lot to keep track of. They're working long hours. It's a commission job. They're under a lot of stress. So like if you told them once 3 weeks ago not to fucking sell PPVs where the girl's eating a lollipop and they like forget and sell the PPV with the fucking lollipop, don't, yes, you should bring it up and say, don't do that. I told you already, but like, don't fucking crash down on them from the mountain. But if you hire somebody, like I'll tell you a story of a chatter that I had once, right? This was after I had a couple good chatters and I hired this guy and I gave him some good accounts and I was like, all right, bro, like I really believed in him and I was giving him fucking chance after chance and I passed him through the training and he was not selling anything. He was fucking terrible and he was so stupid. And I would correct his mistakes. I would review his chats. And this was back before I was like nice when I reviewed the chats. And I'm like fucking screaming, what the fuck are you doing? I fucking told you this. And I'm thinking like, it should be pretty clear. Because yes, okay, I'm screaming and I'm not being nice, but I'm very clear also about like, you did this, you should have said this. And then I checked a week and his numbers still didn't improve. I checked a week later, he was still doing it. So I fired him. And that's just what you got to do. And oh my God, I'm so glad I did. It's so much better to have him gone than to have a dumb person on the team. And again, this, you may disagree with me on this. I'm not saying this is the correct way. This is just how I do it. Because you could make the argument that, okay, maybe he was only selling for $50 to $100 a day. He was still selling for $50 to $100 a day. That's still money coming in. That's still money in our pockets, right? The girl's making money. He's making money. I'm making money. So, I could have bought stuff with that money. I could have used it for, I don't know, whatever. But I didn't want, I personally, I don't want to set the precedent that it's okay to not do what I tell you to do. And I'm not like in a fucking Nazi way or anything like that. But like if you do something and I tell you not to do it and I tell you publicly in front of the entire group and then you do it again and I don't do anything about it, I mean, what kind of fucking example does that set? It's going to make me look like a little bitch. And it's not just a pride thing. It's just that how are you going to maintain control over your organization if people think that your threats are empty, that you're just full of hot air, And then finally, fire at the first sign of shadiness. It's a big one. And the bigger, this might happen to you when you're small and you start hiring people, but probably less so. Because somebody who's a scammer or somebody that has bad intentions probably is not going to really try that hard to work with you because they're like, oh, he's a small fish. Like, I don't know, what am I going to get out of this guy anyway? But once you get a little bit bigger, once you have some success, once you have a good team, you will start to attract people that want to be a little parasite and steal from you or, do bad stuff to you. And this is actually a tip that I got from BTZ. A month or two ago, I had I had a chatter that I hired. This person reached out to me and they're like, oh, I really want to work with you. What can I do? Let me do this. Let me do that. And I was like, okay, I'll hire you as a chatter, give you a chance. Long story short, this person was talented. They sold a fair amount right away. I was impressed. And they started acting like a little weird. Now, if you let me paint the picture for you. You have a chatter, you hire a new guy, he's selling for $500 a day right out of the gate. You don't really like want to let that person go so easily, right? You might start to think of reasons in your head like, oh, okay, well maybe, this weird thing that they did was like, maybe there's an excuse for it, and you start rationalizing. So I started to get a bad feeling about this person because he was telling me some stuff. He's like, oh, your other chatters are saying this. They're saying they don't respect you. You're saying you're a little bitch and like all this stuff. And I'm like, my Filipino chatters are saying that? And it just seemed hard to believe for me. It seemed really hard to believe. And then my chatters, and this actually happened later, but anyway, I'll tell you, finish the story in a second. But when this happened, I reached out to BTZ and I was like, hey man, let me ask you something. And the reason I wanted to ask him is because I know, everybody knows who he is. His fucking name is everywhere. And I know that he's a very big target for scammers. Like people are always trying to fucking scam him. They're always trying to fucking rip him off in some way. So he has a lot of experience with this kind of thing. I didn't have a lot of experience. I had only just started like talking about chatting and how much they were making. And so I'd only really kind of just become a target, even though I'd been making content for a long time. I never really talked about my earnings. I really talked about sales because like it wasn't really impressive enough to talk about. So I asked him, I told him the situation. I was like, oh, this happened, that happened. Like, and it kind of gives me like a little bit of a bad vibe. Like, what do you think I should do? And he didn't say fire him. He said, I don't tolerate any, what did he say? Something like, I don't tolerate any bullshit. Those weren't the words he used, but I remember he said, I fire at the first sign of shadiness. And I was like, okay, well, goodbye. And so then I fired the chatter and everything was good. But that's something that like you will, I guess, probably have to watch out for when your agency gets bigger. And again, this is another reason why I recommend to not hire from Telegram. I suppose if you want, you can do KYC and you can vet these people a little bit better. But Telegram is like the like liquid that collects at the bottom of the garbage can. The bag rips and like all the shit like drips down into the fucking bottom. It smells like ass. That's like what Telegram is for. I was going to say for VAs. Yeah, fine. You'll find a good one every once in a while. You'll find an amazing chatter every once in a while. But the ones that are there, most of them are god awful dog shit. Just pure fucking dog shit. That's just my opinion. Who knows? I could be wrong, but I'm probably not. Anyway, those are my 6 tips for how to avoid hiring retarded Filipino VAs. Let me know what you think about that. Drop me a comment. Hit me up for coaching. Link in the description. Peace.